Sup plebs, Pleb Esports. Today going to be talking about the recent Fnatic struggles in Counter-Strike and where that team is likely going from here. That is my opinion. Okay, let's preface this video. It's an opinion. Don't get on me if you're a Fnatic fan. Okay, I'm an NA pleb. I'm going to talk about Counter-Strike, my opinion. Okay, I'm an NA pleb, so back off. Fnatic were like world beaters for the longest time. Okay, they were the dream team of Counter-Strike, at least of recent. Olaf Meister hurt his wrist, got hurt, and they weren't that good anymore with a stand-in. But Olaf actually came back, made his return in the E-League tournament, and he played pretty well. But Fnatic had to shake the rust off from playing with a stand-in for so long. The Cologne Major actually happened to be in the middle of E-League because E-League was actually the longest tournament in human history. You may think the Olympics were longer than E-League. They are not. You may think the World Cup was longer than E-League. It was not. Okay, you may think the Euro is longer than E-League. It is not. E-League is the beginning and the end, the alpha and the omega of long tournaments, and it maintains its championship. Anyway, Fnatic made it all the way to the semifinals of the Cologne Major, actually got bounced by the NA Liquid team. The NA Plebs knocked out Fnatic in what was an incredible Counter-Strike match, but we actually learned from Csgo in post-match interviews that he had seen Fnatic said they weren't looking forward to the Liquid match as much as they were the SK Virtus Pro match, because they figured they would play one of those two teams in the finals. And so they weren't taking Liquid as seriously as they perhaps should have, obviously, because Liquid bounced them. Fast forward a week or so to the finals weekend of E-League, where Fnatic matched up against Navi in the semifinals. And again, when asked how they were preparing for the match, they said they spent the week by the pool, playing Overwatch, doing a little streaming. And I understand, look, okay, I understand that too much practice for an event can be a very bad thing, and it can psych you out, and it can burn you out on the game before you perform on the big stage, but it seemed that they were taking the Navi matchup very lightly, and for good reason, because they absolutely decimated Navi and completely took my point out of context and made me eat my words. That was the cleanest match of Csgo I had seen in a while. Fnatic's roster from top to bottom absolutely decimated Navi, and there was no answer for it. It was a quick 2-0, and they were on to the championship. So Championship Sunday comes. Before that, so after that Navi match, everyone was asking, is Fnatic back? Are these guys back? Is the dream team back together? Can we start this magical run again that they had previous to Olaf Meister's injury? And anytime, first off, I can't stand when plebs ask whether or not Fnatic is back every time they win a match. Anytime, no matter what you're talking about, esports, regular sports, whatever. Anytime you have to ask that question about a team, are they back? The answer is likely no. They will never get back to a place where we don't have to ask that question. That's the whole reason we're asking the question, because their skill level has deteriorated. Or, I think more so in this case, the skill level around them has increased. And that's not to say that Fnatic is somehow in a bad spot, okay? Before the fanatics come at me for saying Fnatic is a pleb team now, I do believe that Fnatic will be a tier 1 team, okay? An elite team in the world, finishing top 2, top 3, at tournaments, at majors. Maybe they squeak out a win every now and again. And that's probably where they're going to stay if they maintain the same roster. But I don't think it's a roster problem. I think more importantly, the mentality going into tournaments for these guys is the problem. There's nothing wrong with being confident, okay? In a game like CS, you have to be confident in your team. You have to be confident in yourself. But to be honest, I don't think Fnatic has the ability anymore to go into every match thinking we are absolutely going to play our game regardless of what the other team plans to do, and we'll be okay. And again, that's not a knock on Fnatic's talent. That's not a knock on Fnatic's skill or strategies. That's more of a compliment onto where the CS scene has come. The competition around Fnatic, the tier 1 teams around Fnatic, the elite teams across Europe, and even NA, and then SK Gaming. They're good enough to play with Fnatic now, and that's just the way it's going to be. Does there need to be a roster change with Fnatic? No. No, I don't think so, because who are you going to replace, and who would you even replace him with? Statistically speaking, Dennis had the best performance for Fnatic the past few events, and the ones that have actually struggled, particularly at E-League, were Olaf and JW. And who in their right mind would drop those two? I don't think this is a roster problem. I think this is an issue of Fnatic maintaining their world beater mentality, maintaining that run, that storied run of Counter-Strike tournaments where they were just dominating, in a scene where that's no longer reality. Again, before all the Fnatic plebs, the Fnatic fans, before their ears jump on me, thinking I'm saying Fnatic is somehow trash now, that they're washed. Hold your horses. I continue to preach, and I will continue to maintain that I believe Fnatic is a top 3 team at most tournaments. But they are no longer all-stars. And until the mentality changes, I think they will stay in that tier 1 range, competing with the best teams in the world, winning tournaments here and there. But this run of Fnatic dominating the entire world in Counter-Strike like they once did, it's over. It's over. The pro Counter-Strike scene around the world has grown so much in the past year alone. I don't think there's a tier 1 team, barring SK, that can just world beat the rest of the scene. And we'll really know for sure if SK wins the next major in New York. If SK wins the next major in New York, then they have completely assumed that mantle. Okay, they've already assumed the mantle of best team in the world from Fnatic. That's clear. But what we will see is if SK win that major in New York, it's a new era of Counter-Strike. And it is an era of Counter-Strike that was very familiar to the Fnatic guys, but I just don't think it's a reality anymore. And until people come to grips with that, they're going to have a hard time watching these tournaments and watching their favorite team gets bounced from these tournaments in the semis, the finals, whatever. The scene is too big now. The talent is too wide, and it's good for Counter-Strike in my opinion. It's a great thing that there's parity in Counter-Strike. Not that much. Okay, obviously tier 1 teams are still tier 1 teams, and EU teams are heading above most NA teams. But this is just Counter-Strike as we know it now. It's competitive. It's diverse. And I think the outcomes of these majors and the outcomes of these tournaments are going to reflect that. All right, plebs, let me know what you think. Did you agree, disagree? Comment down below. See you next time.